Hello. This is the part 2 video for lesson 7.5. You don't have to watch this, but I'm just filling in the extra problems that I didn't cover in part 1 because it was already a long video. So here we go. We are starting off on letter B. We're finding the y-intercept, x-intercepts, and the vertex to graph the parabola. So because it's in ax squared plus bx plus c, we can see that a is 1, which is greater than 0, so we know it's face up. And we also know that we can just put 0 in for x and get the y-intercept. So that's quick at 0, -5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So somewhere down here. And then the x-intercepts, I'm hoping I can factor. I can factor into x plus 5x minus 1 to add to make a +4 and multiply to make a -5. So we have one x-intercept at x equals 0 and one at x equal to 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's 1 and then here's 1. And then our vertex, the x coordinate of the vertex is at a -b, so that would be the opposite of 4 over 2 times a, so a -2. And then I'm going to put a -2 into the function, so a -2 squared plus 4 times a -2 minus 5 is 4 minus 8 minus 5 is a -9. So we're at a -2, -9 for the vertex. So this was at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is a -2. So somewhere around in here. And it's going to go through those points and go up, and then come over here and go through this point. Then we also left E and F, and trying to graph them, finding the same values here. Again, A is 2, which is greater than 0, so it's face up. That's nice. And actually, we can factor out a 2 out in front. That might, so you have x squared plus 2x minus 3. So this 2 can really just be disregarded. So now A is 1, but it's still greater than 0, so it's still face up. The y-intercept is when I put 0 in for x. So that leaves us with a -3. There's my y-intercept. And it's face up, so I know I'm going to have 2 x-intercepts. And my x-intercepts, now they won't always factor, when you have to do these problems. And you can always use the quadratic formula. It's just if it factors, to me, it's just so much easier. So 3 and a -1 add to make a 2, and these multiply to make a -1. So my x-intercepts are at a -3 and 1. So there's about the -3, and there's a 1. And then we just have to find our vertex. The x of our vertex is at the opposite of B. I'm just going to use the original, just so you can see why it works. So this would be a -4 over 2 times 2. So a -4 over 4 is a -1. And then if we put a -1 in, f of a -1 will be 2 times a -1 squared plus 4 times a -1 minus 6. So -1 squared is 1. So this will just be 2 minus 4 minus 6 is a -8. So our vertex is a -1, -8. So -1, that's a -3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right about here. And then it's going to go, it's very sharp growing here. I didn't do a very good job of drawing. The -1 really would have been right about in here. Sorry about that, my drawing. Okay, let's look at all of that. Okay, so A is equal to 1, greater than 0, so it's face up. And y-intercept is at 0 and a -2 when I put 0 in for x. So 0 and a -2, so there we are. And we have our x-intercepts. And I can't factor this. So this one is going to have to be using the quadratic formula. So that's going to be the opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 plus 8 all over 2. So 2 plus or minus the square root of 12 over 2. The square root of 12 can be the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. So that's 2 times the square root of 3. So it's 2 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 3 over 2. So that means 2 cancels from all three of those. So we really have 1 plus or minus the square root of 3. So we can look those up on Desmos. And then our vertex is going to be at the x is at the opposite of b over 2a, which is a positive 2 over 2 or 1. And so when I put 1 back into my function, I have 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 2. So that leaves us with 1 minus 4 or -3. So my vertex is at 1, -3. That's 1 and then -3. So there's my vertex. And without going to Desmos, my x-intercepts are going to be about here and here. So I'm guessing 1 plus the square root of 3 is just under 1. And then this one is just under 0. So let's just go and find them in Desmos. So I have y equals x squared minus 2x minus 2. Oops. And I'm going to adjust my scaling. So to do that, I'm going to click on my graph over here on the left and go, excuse me, up to the gear and have it make a table. Because if I have it make a table for this equation, then I can hit the magnifying glass and it'll do that for me. So I can validate the vertex is right there at 1, -3. And right there is my my left hand x-intercept, and here is my right hand one. So x equals 2.732 and x equals, let's see the other one here, a -0.732. I wrote those right here. Okay. Then we were working with the vertex format to find these same pieces and to graph them. And the vertex is the H and K, and here H is just 3 because the equation of the vertex form is x minus H, so H is just a positive 3, and K is the negative 3 right here. A is 1/3, so it's positive, so it's face up. And our vertex is 1, 2, 3, down, 1, 2, 3. So it's over here and it's face up. Okay. um, and our y-intercept is when we put 0 in for x. Oops. 0 minus 3 squared minus 3 equals 1/3 times a negative 3 squared is 9 minus 3 is 3 minus 3 is 0. So we're at the point 0, 0 is our y-intercept. So that's also one of our x-intercepts. We just have to find the other one. And the x-intercepts we can find here by setting equal to 0. If I add 3 to both sides, I'll have 3 equals 1/3 times x minus 3 squared. I'm going to multiply 3 both sides to cancel out this 1/3. So I'll have 9 equals x minus 3 squared. And then when I take the square root of both sides, I will have plus or minus 3 equals x minus 3. So I'll have 3 equals x minus 3. So if I add 3 to both sides, x equals 6 is the one over here. And then the other one is I would have a negative 3 equals x minus 3. So when I add 3, I get 0. And that's the one we already knew. So this one's a wider one. And we can see that also because A is 1/3. When A is a fraction, it's a wider, it's like kind of like a flower that's opened up. And then we had 2 more left on this page, example 4, where we're just finding the vertex and deciding if it's a minimum or a maximum. So this one is written interestingly opposite. So A is a 1. It's on the x squared. So it's a greater than 0. So it's a face up. So my vertex is going to be a minimum. It's going to be the lowest point once we find it. And the x-coordinate of the vertex is the opposite of b. So the opposite of a negative 4 over 2a, which is 1. So 4 over 2 is 2. So the vertex is at 2. And then I'm going to put 2 back into my function to find out what the y-coordinate is. 2 plus 2 squared. A negative 12 minus 8 plus 4 is a negative 16. So there is my vertex, 2 and a negative 16, and it's the lowest point. And the last problem for practice is here. So A is equal to 1, so it's going to be face up because it's bigger than 0. And C is equal to 0, and so let's just find the vertex. The vertex is going to be the lowest point again. And so the x-coordinate is going to be the opposite of a negative 8 over 2 times 1. So 8 over 2 is 4. So the vertex is going to be at 4 something. So the function at 4 is 4 squared minus 8 times 4 is 16 minus 32 or a negative 16. So the vertex is way at over to the right 4, down 16, and then it's the minimum point because it's face up. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. And I hope you had a great semester. I hope you feel that you've learned something about yourself, maybe something about your study skills, where you can improve, where your strengths are. And most importantly, you've learned some algebra along the way, some math. And I hope you have a great rest of your time at Glen Oaks.